Good day everyone. For this video, we will answer item number 29 on problem set A. A textbook is opened and the product of the two numbers of the two facing pages is 6162. What are the numbers of the pages? Let us apply Polya's four-step method on solving the problem. So for the step 1, we have to understand the problem. So, as we have read, the textbook was opened and the two numbers or pages are obviously consecutive. Also, it states that their product is 6162. Next, let us devise a plan. Let x be a page on the textbook. So we have x there times x plus 1, which is the next page, equals 6162. Applying the distributive property, we have x squared plus x equals 6162. Next, applying additive inverse, we'll have x squared plus x minus 6162 equals 0. So for the step 3, carry out the plan. So for this one, we can first use the listing method. We can use this method since we can immediately factor this equation. So we have here table for the factors of 6162. Ayan. So we have, kapag ika-calculate natin or hanapin natin, mano-mano nating hahanapin ang mga factors. We'll have 6162 and 1, 3081 and 2, 2054 and 3, 1027 and 6, 474 and 13, 237 and 26, 158 and 39, 79 and 78, 78 and 79. Now, looking back on our first step and nandyan din naman sa ating problem that the two numbers or pages are obviously consecutive. So on the last part, we have 78 and 79. Let us try these numbers. So I have there x minus 78 and x plus 79. So ngayon, bakit siya minus 78 and plus 79? As you can see, we have a negative last term. So to get a negative last term, our last terms must be a negative and a positive number. So alam naman natin na yung dalawang number na pareho ang sign is magre-result sa positive. Now, if we have a negative and a positive na imumultiply, it will result to a negative number and our last term there is a negative number. So, we have negative and a positive last terms. So, ngayon, bakit naman negative ang 78 and positive ang 79? Look at our second term. It is a positive x, positive number x, or positive term. So our second term is a result of our inner term and outer term. Ngayon, ano ba yung mas mataas na number na magre-result sa positive? So we have there 79. Now, we'll get the root. So paghihiwalayin natin yung dalawa. We have x minus 78. And if we solve that, we'll get x equals 78. Yung isa, x plus 79. The root that we'll get is negative 79. Ngayon, wala namang negative na page number. So we have to use our first root to get the second or the next page, we have 78 plus 1, and that would result to 79. But what do you observe? Yes, we have a quadratic equation of the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So, for devise a plan, we can also use the quadratic equation, the quadratic formula rather. So, we have learned before we could apply this formula, the quadratic formula, to find the solutions to this kind of equation. Our equation, x squared plus x minus 6,162 equals 0. We know that our quadratic formula is this: x squared is equal to negative b plus minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. From our quadratic equation, we could see, or we could identify our values for a, b, and c. So there we can see that a is equal to 1, b equals 1, c is equal to negative 6,162. Now let us substitute the values to the formula. We have x equals negative 1 plus minus the square root of 1 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 6,162 divided by 2 times 1. To simplify this, we have x equals negative 1 plus minus square root of 1 plus 24,649 divided by 2. So, solving this using calculator, for x equals negative 1 plus 157, or yung square root ng kanina, divided by 2, we'll have x equals 78. For x equals negative 1 minus 157 divided by 2, we'll get negative 79. Parang yun nasa listing method lang. Pero syempre, wala nga namang negative na page number. So, we'll use 78 or the first root that we got. We have 78 plus 1 equals 79. So, step 4, look back. Checking our answer, we can multiply them to each other to see if we'll get our desired value. So 78 times 79, it would equate to 6,162. And 6,162 is equal to 6,162. Next, the product of the two consecutive counting numbers is 8,190. What are the numbers? First, we have to understand the problem. So counting numbers, when we say counting numbers, they start from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and etc. And then it says there that their product is equal to 8,190. For our step 2, devise a plan, let x be a counting number, or the counting number. So we have x times x plus 1 equals 8,190. Applying the distributive property, x squared plus x equals 8,190. And to simplify, we have x squared plus x minus 8,190 equals 0. So we will use the quadratic formula for this problem. So the values of a, b, and c, a is equal to 1, b is equal to 1, and c is equal to negative 8,190. Substitute the values to the formula, we have -1 plus minus the square root of 1 squared minus 4 times 1 times -8,190 divided by 2. Simplifying this, we have x equals -1 plus minus square root of 32,761 divided by 2. And for the first root, we have x is equal to -1 plus square root of 32,761 divided by 2, and that is 90. For x is equal to -1 minus square root of 32,761 divided by 2, we'll get -91. So, counting numbers. Sinabi kanina dun sa step 1 na ang counting numbers is nagsisimula sa 1. So, wala tayong negative. Then, we will use our first root na 90. 90 plus 1 will get 91. So, ayun. To look back, check our answer. If we multiply what we get, we'll have 8,190. Now it's your turn. So a lot was sold for someone who wants to build a small coffee shop. It has an area of 500 square feet and the length is more than the width, 8 more than the width. Find the dimensions of the lot. First, you have to understand a problem. You have an area of 500 square feet, a length of x plus 8 or 8 more than the width, and the area is equal to length times width. Applying the values or substituting the values, the formula, we have negative times 8 plus minus the square root of 8 squared minus 4 times 1 times -500 divided by 2 times 1. Simplify. Thank you for listening and keep safe, everyone.